Here's a fairy creature for your TTRPG adventures. We're going through the Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault, covering all the monsters A to Z, starting with all the fairy-type creatures. And there are few creatures more classical than this one, the Dryad from Greek mythology. Dryads are forest spirits, tree nymphs, allies to animals and plants, and known to sometimes aid lost travelers who are walking through their forest. Now, for only being a Challenge 1 creature, the Dryad actually has a lot of tools at its disposal. Starting off with the ability we're going to see on pretty much all of the fairies in this section, Fey Resilience. The Dryad is resistant to the charmed and unconscious conditions. And then at Challenge 1 it has magic resistance, so that means advantage on saves against spells and magical effects. At level 1. Now these next three are huge and are pretty much the cornerstones on how to build an effective Dryad encounter. And the first one is One with the Forest. While in a forest, the Dryad cannot be surprised, and it leaves behind no tracks or other traces of its passage. The next one is Speak with Beasts and Plants. The Dryad can communicate with all beasts and plants as if they shared a language. All beasts and plants. And the third is Tree Stride. Once per turn, the Dryad can use 10 feet of its movement to step magically into one living tree within its reach and emerge within a second living tree within 60 feet of where it can see. That tree has to be large or larger. Using these things in unison, the Dryad can set up a nasty trap where it tracks the party, having stronger beasts and plants waiting for them where it wants, all while being undetected. This is also a Challenge 1 creature with multi-attack. The Dryad can make 2 Vine Whips or 2 Blast of Pollen attacks. If both Vine Whips hit the same creature, they have to make a strength saving throw or they are restrained until the end of its next turn. Note that it does not say that the Dryad can only have one creature restrained like this at a time, so it could potentially have multiple party members restrained, which makes them really easy targets for the Blast of Pollen that has a 60-foot range. Now, one of the things that I really like about Tales of the Valiant is they give a lot of the creatures these unique bonus actions, things that the creature can do during their action economy that doesn't eat into their normal things that they can do, almost operating like mini lair or legendary actions that are unique to the creature. And the Dryad actually has multiple options in this category. The first one is Charming Scent, probably something more along the lines of what people would traditionally think of when they think of Dryads. The Dryad emits a charming scent to a creature it can see within 30 feet. The creature rolls a wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they are now charmed by the Dryad, and the Dryad can have up to 2 creatures charmed like this at any given time. Now, the Dryad does not have control of the charmed creature, but they do view the Dryad as an ally. They'll listen to suggestions from the Dryad, and the charmed creature can repeat their save at the end of each of their turns. Their second bonus action only triggers after they are at 21 or fewer hit points, and they can only use it once per day. The Dryad uses Forest's Aid, where they call upon a horde of squirrels, rabbits, mice, other small woodland animals to its aid. You use a swarm of rat statistic block, and they basically follow the Dryad's orders, helping them in whatever way they may seem fit. Maybe they use them to help get a quick escape. Maybe they use them to help run interference. Maybe they use them to help take down a party that is down to its last sliver of health so that they can keep their forest safe. Now, you could just run a Dryad like your simple monster of the week for a level 1 party, a true level 1 boss. I think somebody that could potentially take the party down if encountered in a forest, in the right environment, and using their once per day call of forest animals to help them. And keep in mind, they can speak to all plants and animals as if they share a language. So they could have things like bears or stronger plant creatures who are at their beck and call, or at least allies that are part of an encounter that the party has to deal with. Or maybe you want to take it in the direction of aiding lost travelers. The party is going through a dark, cursed forest, but there is a Dryad who is kind of watching them from the sidelines, seeing that they are indeed friends of the forest, someone that can be trusted, and so they aid the party in a moment of need, or maybe even test them themselves to see if they are up to the challenge of helping them take down whatever the curse is that has befallen the forest in which they reside. Now, looking at the Dryad and how it is presented in this book, there's a lot of hints in its design to multiple applications to where it is most effective. Of course, like I said earlier, I think it is a fantastic, really challenging level 1 boss fight. You give it some woodland backup on top of its call animal friends, and you've got a really challenging fight for a level 1 party. But then seeing how much it can do at challenge rating 1, that hints towards it being a great backup creature for something that is of a higher challenge rating, maybe a challenge 4 or 5 nature-centric beast that is encountered later in the adventure. Maybe they're working for or are under the control of a more powerful fae or a druid who has turned dark side. Toss on some animal backup on top of these dryads and whatever their higher up is. That is a tough fight. Now, your dryads can take whatever form they want. This is a Final Fantasy dryad, and it's not the dryads I remember. Maybe the ones I remember aren't much better. A femme florale whose friend or foe? Who's to say? The dryad. Use it, you nerds.